This is the first video talking about the 9 planet system. In this video, we will decipher the meaning of Buddha-sutra, which reads as Buddha Buddhimatam Shrestha Buddhidata Dhanapradā priyaṅgu-kalikā-śyāmam kañja-netram manohara. Here, we look at the basic words used in the sutra. These words are easy to understand and do not require much explanation. Buddha is referred to demigod, Buddha or intellect. Buddhimatam means among the wise. Shrestha means greatest. Buddhidata means one who grants intellect. The words Dhanapradā, Manohara, priyaṅgu-kalikā-śyāmam, kañja-netram are very complex words to understand. Their literal meaning do not make any sense. Therefore, we will inquire together and shall find out their true ultimate meaning. Do not worry, we will use very simple examples. Let us understand the word Dhanapradā. Here, we will decompose the word Dhanapradā into its constituent parts. We call it sandhi-vicched in Sanskrit. First word is Dhan. In Sanskrit, Dhan also means words. Prada means giver. So, Dhanapradā word would mean one who gives words. Here we will decompose the word manohara into its constituent words. Mano and hara. Mano means the mind and the hara means division. So manohara means one who divides the mind. What does it mean? Let's inquire into it. Now let's look at the example of intellect dividing the mind. Let us first have some context. Mind here means the 5 senses data. In this example, we will focus on one sense, the eye. How do we see this image? Photons of different frequency travel and enter into the eye. Different frequency becomes different colors. Based on color, shape, we see an object. Moreover, the object is recognized based upon the boundaries. The boundary which is created by colors. The colors itself do not have any meaning. It is the intellect which finds a contrast in senses and divides it. Further, intellect can represent it by the word. Here, Dhanapradā is lotus. Visual sense or visual data is easy to show. However, intellect finds the contrast in all 5 senses and divides it into smaller parts and then represent it through various words. Now let us take another example. This is the satellite view of our Mother Earth. It would be good exercise to look at the intellect and how it can create the boundaries which are sometimes not visible. It can use memories to create such boundaries. Now let us move to another complex word, priyaṅgu-kalikā-śyāmam. Here we will decompose the word priyaṅgu-kalikā-śyāmam into its constituent words. Priyaṅgu means wine. Wine are like ropes which are a part of a plant like grape or pumpkin plant. Kalika means of birds. A bird is premature flower, but it has all information about the flower. Shyamam means of dark color or shadow or projection. It depends upon the context. First, let us look at the priyaṅgu-kalikā-śyāmam's literal translation, which is wines of birds, which is a projection. If you try to visualize it, then it looks something like this picture here. Pink color birds connected with the brown color vines. Now we need to inquire what these birds mean here and what the vine means here. It, the intellect, is shadow of what? Now let us look at this example. This is a small area in Delhi, India called CP, Connaught Place. On the left, we see the actual appearance of the area, the colors of the trees and the buildings. On the right hand side, there is a map of this area. Please note that they might not have perfect overlap, but please assume so. The map on the right hand side is the representation or projection of the actual area. In other words, intellect represents or projects the actual world. And what is the structure of this representation? Now let us look at the area which has buildings, and buildings are connected by road networks. The map on the right hand side has all the information about the area, the distance between the buildings and the placement of the trees, etc. But it is not the actual thing. In the representation map, the buildings and the trees can be said to be equivalent to birds, and road network would be equivalent to vines. Such a structure is called graph in today's world. A graph has nodes, and nodes are connected by the edges. We already have some idea about priyaṅgu-kalikā-śyāmam, means a projection of the world which has a graphical structure. Now let's look at some more examples of how intellect can represent the actual world as graphs. Let us look at the first image from the left. There is a man, horse, and the mountain. First, there are recognition of these objects based on the boundary or shape. The man is wearing the shirt and the hat. Now, look at its corresponding graph, which has all the information about the scene, but it's not the actual scene. The graph comes out of the process of dividing each object from its surrounding and also giving it various attributes. The division here means two or more than two things or words existing in a space. Please pause the video and go through rest of the examples. Let us decompose the word kañja-netram. First word is kanj, which means lotus. Second word is netro, which means eyed. So kañja-netram means one who is lotus-eyed. Again, we should ask, what does it mean? Lotus symbolizes a lot of things in Hinduism. Lotus has layers of petals, with outermost layer having largest petals and innermost the smallest. Layers of petals represent the hierarchy in graph. Let us look at the world map and try to understand what hierarchy means. First image from the left, it is the whole earth. Then the intellect divides it into 7 continents. Then each continent is further divided into multiple nations and so on. The whole division can be represented as the hierarchy in a graph. The division can be represented as the hierarchy, where intellect divides each node into multiple nodes. The root node is the earth, which divides itself into 7 continents. Then continents further divides into nations and so on. Notice that this graph has all the information, but is not the actual earth. It's a projection. In summary, the intellect divides the mind or the data coming into five senses. Then it associates words to the divided parts. Intellect represents the divided data as graph. Further, such graph may have hierarchy. One thing to note here is that these qualities are the fundamentals of intellect. One can do it multiple times and can form complex structures and do complex maths also. Now, the complete translation of the sutra would go something like Buddhi is greatest among wise, grants intellect and words. Buddha is the projection which has graph structure. Buddha's vision is like a lotus. Buddha divides the mind. The presentation is just a way to give the glimpse of the actual meaning of the sutra. One has to realize them by chanting the sutra several times in a day with keeping these meanings in mind.